Are you ready to listen to my dad Joe and Uncle Justin talk about sports? Now on with the show.
The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop, which have been serving the greater West Lawn area delicious food for over 70 years.
So get ready! I mean, get ready! Are you ready for some football?
You are listening to The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show.
Well, I guess we're going to get started here, as that call just kind of ruined things, and it's still happening. So we're gonna stop that and move on. Welcome to the show. Wow, that
There's
can't
a first
say
for everything.
Yeah, that is the first. I need to turn that feature off. Maybe I should throw up the cameras here so you can see me too. Wow, excellent. Just perfect. I honestly. First, I wasn't sure if the audio would play because last weekend we didn't end up having a show because of the snowstorm. We weren't scheduled to have a show because my in-laws were supposed to be here to celebrate Natalie's birthday. That got moved. I was like, I don't want to miss the whole weekend, but it felt kind of ridiculous to ask you to come over in the snow on Sunday. So Natalie and I ended up doing Nat Chats for the first time in like 7.5 years. But during that show, I couldn't get the music to play. It wasn't working. So I was happy when I started to hear our intro play because that was tech disaster avoided. However, other things popped up that I wasn't ready for. So
Tech disaster avoided so far.
So yeah. Well, hopefully that's it for this episode.
Yes.
That's it. We're done with the tech mishaps. Hopefully I can get the outro to work properly. But here we are. This is a big show, Justin. Welcome everyone to episode 431 of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. This is serving as our Super Bowl preview, Super Bowl 60. LX in Roman numerals, and it is one we've seen before, Justin. This is a Super Bowl rematch.
It is, yeah.
We've gotten a lot of those over the last few years.
Yeah, and it's interesting because some of the people like my son, who's like he doesn't remember the Patriots.
Yeah, because
Seahawks.
he would have been like
I don't
one.
even know when did they play.
I think February 2015.
Okay, yeah.
So he wasn't even
he
one.
wasn't even one yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would have been so like all of that stuff. So to him, these are like not the Patriots necessarily, but the the Seahawks being in is new to him. So for me, I'm like, oh, it's not that new, but I'm like, it kind of is, but the Patriots have been there so much, so
right.
It doesn't feel the same, but yeah, it's you get some of the teams are still in it, and
this got me thinking. So I guess I was gonna say, so Rams Bengals was a unique one, right? The Rams hadn't played the Bengals in the Super Bowl before.
Bengals making it.
Bengals hadn't
rare.
made it in a long time. So I mean, they had made it before.
Yes,
but so that was a new Super Bowl because obviously. Last year's Super Bowl was not new. We had seen it just 2 years prior. The year before was not new. We had seen it 4 years prior. So Chiefs-Eagles was technically new. We just had it happen 2 years later then. Bengals-Rams was new. I guess Chiefs-Bucks was new. It feels like we've had a lot of repeats because it has been a lot of the same teams rolling in and out.
Not necessarily the same matchup.
But this one is the same matchup.
Right,
this is the one from XLIX, I think it was.
Yeah.
Where the Patriots won 28-24. That's the infamous Russell Wilson not handing it off to Marshawn Lynch, instead trying to thread the needle
you see,
at the
like,
one.
There's like a crazy, ridiculous like prop bet of like will
they throw from the 1 yard line?
Right.
Right. Yeah, interesting. We've gone over those prop bets in the past, but I think I think if this was Broncos Seahawks, which again we've seen before, but the Broncos haven't been there since 2015, so it would have been felt a little bit more fresh. And I know the Patriots haven't been there since 2018, but people are still tired of the Patriots, even though it has been this long since they've been there, and they're years removed from Tom Brady. But it feels old.
Yeah.
Even though Seahawks Patriots hasn't happened in 11 years, I feel like we could have had a slightly better matchups that would have been more interesting. I thought Broncos Rams would have been fun.
Yeah.
You know, I
Well,
obviously
and
I know
here's the thing: things changed a lot when Bo Nix got hurt,
Right.
Because and watching that game last week, and then also, how about this is very off topic for the Super Bowl discussion, but Sean Payton, coming out of nowhere and becoming unlikable this week, just being talking about Bo Nix. Oh, he was it was he was gonna be hurt and everything, and Bo Nix is kind of no, I don't know what he's talking about. Just it reminded me. It's not the same, but it reminded me of when Peyton and Russell Wilson had the falling out in Denver.
Oh, right.
It was when Russell Wilson was actually playing his best in Denver. It's what are you doing? It's he has to pick a fight. I don't know. It's just weird. I'm not a big Sean Payton guy, so part of it is probably me, just annoyed by him in general. And this is one of those things that confirms, oh yeah, But I was what? It's just weird. Dude, no one's blaming you. You lost with Jared Stidham. It happens. It was just weird. But they looked horrendous last week. But they fired the OC.
Yeah. Well, I think
it's
a lot
just
of that
weird.
relates to that they didn't get the job done. They felt like it was the defense carrying them most of the season.
And that could be fair.
But it was also because the quarterback's coach, Davis Webb? It was a hot commodity in coaching circles for other OC jobs. And I think by moving on from, and I don't even remember his name,
Yeah,
the now past OC for the Broncos, they secured Davis Webb staying with the organization for at least 1 year by getting rid of the OC, promoting Davis Webb to that role.
Yeah, and hey, maybe it'll work, but I don't know. The offense is kind of Sean Payton's he's supposed to be the
The quarterback whisperer,
right? And ever since he's gotten to Denver, don't get me wrong, they were doing really well. They would have been favored to win the AFC Championship, but not because of the offense, but the offense was horrendous without Bo Nix on last Sunday. But anyway, that's just a side note. But yeah, there were a lot of potentially flashy matchups. I don't know. Honestly, considering the quarterback injury, it's probably a better matchup that the Patriots made it.
Right. No, you're right there in terms of.
I mean, it is one of those, and I know this won't be popular with Patriots fans, but I still don't know that I believe in the Patriots being that good. Now, they could come out and smoke the Seahawks and be yep, here we go. Yeah, they were. Because just because you haven't had the chance to prove it doesn't mean that you can't prove it. But you beat that Broncos team that could do absolutely nothing on offense.
Right.
That doesn't impress me.
So
your path through the season and the playoffs has been about as easy as you would want it to be in the NFL.
And in the end, if they beat Seattle, it's all moot. It doesn't matter.
100%.
Because they beat what I think
100%.
right now, and they proved it. They had to do it. The best team in the NFC.
Yeah.
Which, look, they were on one of my fraud lists when we started the playoffs. It was them, the 49ers, and the Bears. And they were most of the teams left standing. I was riding on the Rams. I thought the Rams were going to get it done.
So
they didn't. The Seahawks did. Kudos to them. I don't mean to be a Sam Darnold hater. I still don't believe in him all that much.
Agree.
Obviously, he got it done when he needed to. They suffered an injury at running back, so now it's the Kenneth Walker show since the NFC Championship game. They were able to get it done. They have one of the best receivers in the game in Jackson Smith and Jigba. The defense has been flying around, playing like crazy, lights out, reminiscent of the Legion of Boom back in 13, 14, 15, that era of Seahawks football from over a decade ago. And they proved that they're the best team in the NFC. I think they're probably going to prove that they're the best team in the NFL. I do think Vegas has it right. Last I saw, they were favored by, I believe, 4.5.
That's what I saw.
That's what it feels right there. But before we dive into a full analysis of the Super Bowl, we do have an email, Justin. I'm sure you know who this is from.
We also got a shout out in his little fantasy game. As,
we did, yeah.
We may apparently be the only two non-Patriots fans in the league.
So we're playing an interesting fantasy thing developed by, I think it's actually run by his buddy, but Rich is kind of the link to us down here in Pennsylvania. I think everyone else is either a Massachusetts or New England snowbird in Florida, or still lives up in the New England area. And yeah, Rich called out Justin and myself in the correspondence, and there's about 15, 20 people playing?
Something like that.
We got called out for not being Patriots fans. I should have known the audience so that I can make more of a comeback here, because I do have Drake May available to myself, but my guess is that 15 teams have Drake May available, so that's not really going to help me. I do have JSN as well. And
I have Kenneth Walker, who's been good for me.
Both defenses. I have the Patriots and Seahawks defense. Obviously, I can only pick one. But, we do have an email here. Let me pull this up. And, how did that get there? Oh, Rich, I'm so sorry to put that out there. Really, I hope you're not just listening to the show and you're watching. Otherwise, you'll really be scrambling to track down a computer and see the video broadcast of this episode, but I didn't mean to put that out there. I'm sorry. How did that picture of you get there?
Hey, that picture might have to go out to the
might have to be
fantasy
sent
group
to the I think that's a good one to put out. Man,
spent too much time in Florida and look what happens.
Conversion. That's what happens there. So man, let me get that picture off the screen for you, Uncle Rich. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, okay. Whew. Wow, got rid of that one, but we do have a May Sandwich Shop email, of course. It is from Patriots fan Rich, my uncle. We've got mail from him, so let's pull that up. All right, so I didn't read this yet, so let's see what he's got for us. Joe and Justin, it's Super Bowl time, and my team made it. But first, let's talk about another matter. Okay, yeah, we should talk about this. Bill Belichick not being voted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm going to go through the whole thing, and then we can respond or give our take. So answer this. Would you have voted him into the Hall? I know you were both not Patriot fans, but doesn't 6 Super Bowl rings mean anything? Also, he is second with most games won behind Don Shula. And before Justin brings up cheating like he did again on your last show, let's review what Jimmy Johnson, coach of both the Miami Dolphins and the Dallas Cowboys, teams that some of your loyal listeners are fans of. Jimmy called him the greatest coach of all time, also dismissing Spygate concerns by revealing many teams, including his, used similar tactics. Every team in the league tried to steal the opponent's signal. We actually picked it up from Kansas City. We tried doing it. We were horrible at it. He also addressed critics who say Belichick only won because of Tom Brady. Quote, I had Troy Aikman, Chuck Noll had Terry Bradshaw, and Bill Walsh had Joe Montana. I will be listening. He continues, now to the Super Bowl. Once again, people are jealous of us. More excuses. They played the easiest schedule. You have
I've
to
already hit that one.
You have to beat the teams you are supposed to beat. Remember, we lost to the Las Vegas Raiders in week 1. Raiders are the worst team in the league. Then we beat number 5, number 2, and number 1, best defensive teams in the league to make it to the Super Bowl. And the home team coaching staff picks jersey color, whiter colored for each home game. So this BS about the Patriots wearing white during the end of the Broncos game because they knew it would snow is just that, BS. Seattle is favored to win the Super Bowl by 4.5 points, and my Patriots were not expected to go this far, but we are very proud of our team. My last comment, go Patriots. Again, that was all from Pats fan Rich, my uncle from Massachusetts, or more recently residing in not so sunny or warm Florida. If you saw some of those pictures from today,
my in-laws in South Carolina had almost 8 inches of snow.
Yeah. Well, I saw pictures of Disney fountains frozen.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
Yeah, wild and crazy time. So, Rich, we're going to address all of these. Well, one, Justin already brought up a lot of the stuff that you were berating people for talking about. He already mentioned. But let's go back to the first one, because this is a good topic for us to discuss, and it is Bill Belichick not being voted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, as not only was he not unanimous, he didn't even make it on the first ballot. And so he
by one vote, I believe I saw a report today that he got 39 out of 50,
and he needed 40.
Right.
So Rich says, so answer this: would you have voted him into the Hall? I'll go first. Yes, 100%. I could not believe. I honestly thought it was a joke when I saw it come first, but I mean, it came from Adam Schefter. But I had to check that it was the real Adam Schefter account and not one of the fake ones, because I couldn't believe it. Well, one, I didn't realize he was up for Hall of Fame right now. I feel like that wasn't discussed a lot. That they changed it from, was it 3-year waiting to 1-year waiting a few years ago?
Yes. And this will come up in the discussion. Some people aren't happy about that.
Well, and a variety of other ways that the voting it now takes place. But I sent it to you guys, you and Adam, you know, our little sports group chat that we have going on, that is usually to, well, you know, we got AFC East fans and haters of the Patriots in that group chat, and also all Penn State fans. So that's pretty active during football season. Yeah. But I sent you the one that Bill Belichick wasn't voted into Hall of Fame on the first ballot, because I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I didn't realize he was up for it. But if you had told me, you know, the day before this came out that he was able to be voted in because of recent changes to the Hall of Fame waiting period versus what players have to do, which is 5 years, I would have been like, okay, well, he's probably a unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer, not knowing how the voting process goes and who all gets lumped together, which it is very weird. I don't really want to get into that on this show. People out there are saying that that is the reason he didn't make it first ballot, is because of the confusing method. But for me personally, Justin, I'm not going to speak for you. I'll let you say it. He was without a doubt a Hall of Fame coach. He is a first ballot Hall of Fame coach. He is absolutely in the discussion for the greatest coach of all time. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying I haven't gone through those mental gymnastics to figure that out. He's clearly in that. I'm not even sure that would be a handful of coaches. But if you've won 6 Super Bowls, it's hard to say there's anyone much better than you. And I agree with all the stuff that Jimmy Johnson said, that Rich points out. Yes, every Super Bowl winning coach, Hall of Fame coach, had a great elite quarterback on their squad. And I've heard, and this was on the Russ Tucker show, him saying perhaps the most valuable coach in NFL history was Joe Gibbs, because he won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks, none of which are in the Hall of Fame. How can you say that about the other? Like, when you say who is the greatest head coach of all time, who comes to mind? Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. Where do we want to go next? George Seifert, Joe Montana. I don't know. Who comes up? Who's in your mind, Justin? That when you talk about greatest coaches of all time, and when you're going based on wins, Don Shula obviously comes up.
Don Shula's there,
and he had Dan Marino at this late point of his career, didn't help with the Super Bowls, but he was coaching some pretty notable quarterbacks as well. And again,
I'm not saying this just for like to take a jab at anyone or anything. I think Andy Reid could be in the discussion just because he leads,
and he's doing it with Patrick Mahomes.
But like, he's the all-time wins leader for 2 different franchises.
Right.
You know.
Look. Bill Belichick is now paving the way for future coaches that should be in the Hall of Fame to be probably a slam dunk first ballot. I think Andy Reid will get that treatment.
Right.
Is he better than Bill Belichick? I'm not ready to have that discussion.
I think that argument could be made, but like, I'm not ready to make that argument. And like, that aside, yeah, like,
well, you think about Jimmy Johnson had Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
And I know he didn't win the Super Bowls, but Marv Levy had Jim Kelly. Right. Chuck Noll had Terry Bradshaw. I know Bradshaw's not in the same echelon as quarterbacks, but
the game was also different.
The game was different. You had Tom Landry with Roger Staubach. Like you understand what's being said here.
Right.
And look at the success. They should have had more success, I'd say, but the Packers teams that have gone there with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. I know different coaches, but Mike Holmgren was pretty highly regarded. So all of the, quote, great coaches, all-time great coaches, almost all had elite level or Hall of Fame level quarterbacks, except, like I said, Joe Gibbs is kind of the outlier there, which is interesting. So, yes, I 100% believe Bill Belichick got snubbed. Look, I understand the talk about the cheating. I don't compare it and say it's the same as Baseball Hall of Fame with them holding out
Very
players,
different, very
because that
different.
was an individual choice and individual accolades. We're talking about a body of work, and just to look like Deflategate and Spygate very much upset me at the time. And it's fun to throw that in their face now.
Right.
But
And
I do
it-
not think it impacts the legacy at this point at all.
And that's where I'm at as well. Like with that stuff. Like I like to throw it around because I know Rich is listening. But like his one line in there about the Super Bowl, actually, not about Bill Belichick, I believe, about like jealousy. Like, no, that's what it is. Like that's what it is. And I think I've addressed this on the show like a couple years ago. Like, and again, not necessarily Rich, but some people, Eagles, teams are just jealous of the Patriots and Tom Brady. Yes. That's exactly it. Like I don't deny that. Now, like you said, I think those hiccups, let's say, yeah, like people will talk about those things, but in the grand scheme of the NFL is not baseball, right? Like you want to look at things like even in an apples to apples comparison, Brian Cushing won defensive rookie of the year, I think, defensive rookie of the year.
Right.
Tested positive for steroids. So they re-voted, and they voted for him again to win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
It's a good point.
Okay, and that's a more apples to apples comparison than like what was going on. And yes, the things Jimmy Johnson said, not so much like the details about like, oh well, people were trying to cheat and stuff like that. Like again, that's not necessarily what we're talking about. But like when Jimmy Johnson, who is an all-time great coach, like when he's saying, oh, he should absolutely be in. And Jimmy Johnson wasn't on his own here. Like lots of people were saying it.
It also took a long time for Jimmy Johnson to get into the Hall of
They're
Fame.
going to know that more than I would, I feel like. Even though you and I watch more and know more about football than the general person, but like I don't claim to know more than Jimmy Johnson knows about elite football coaching. And so like if he says he should be in. Now, when we go to like why they don't get in, and this is where I'm different. Like not maybe you, but like from some of the takes I've seen, if Bill Polian, for example, if he feels that he does not deserve to get in on the first ballot, then that is Bill Polian's right to not vote for him.
But
Now-
he did vote for him. That's what it came out. Like,
okay.
He said he couldn't remember, and then it came out that he did.
Okay. But like I can understand if he says like, no, I'm not going to. I also understand the guys, and this was one of those like weird things with how the voting works. If he's
You
like,
could only vote
he's
for
like,
3.
I'm voting for guys who won't get another chance.
Whereas Bill
and,
Belichick is
and
just
he's
starting.
like, and I feel have been snubbed in the previous years. As in, I think they are Hall of Famers. This is their last chance. They need to get in. I put that as a failure on the system as much as a
Yes.
failure on some of the voters. But like, if there are some voters who are like, look. My job is to vote who I think deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I think these guys deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Then I'm voting for them. If that means Bill Belichick doesn't get my vote this year, then so be it. Because I think he'll get in. Like, I think it depends on how you view it. If I view it as who is supposed to get into the Hall of Fame in 2026 is a different question from who is supposed to be in the Hall of Fame. And I think if as a voter. Like, I don't think it's as ridiculous as some people were saying in that regard. Now, is it ridiculous that Bill Belichick is not a first ballot Hall of Fame coach? Yes, because and we said this, if he is not, no one is.
No one is,
Like, no
right.
one is. If he's not, no one is. And the irony of it is because he wasn't, others will be. Right? Like, that's
Right.
That's
Right.
one of
You're right.
the
And
ironic
I think
things.
Andy Reid is a shoo-in. I think Andy Reid's going to end up being a unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer.
Right.
And you could argue that he might have been anyway, but if the voting process remains the same a year after he retires, I think he will be, because people aren't going to let it happen again.
Right. And that is not great. And again, I think, it's tough because in what matters in Hall of Fame voting and what doesn't matter in Hall of Fame voting seems to change so much from year to year and person to person. It's so weird. Like, it's so weird. And I get that that's just what kind of happens, especially as the sports have grown. Like before, the people voting represented the only way we had to gather information about these teams. You know what I mean? Like the sports coverage that existed through newspaper and radio, for forever, and then eventually television, was the only way we had to like get this stuff. Now you can get information anywhere you want. If you want, you can buy subscriptions to the high stat services. You can do whatever you want to kind of like pick apart your own and get your own NFL takes. It wasn't always that way. And so I think it has become convoluted, and changing the voting rules doesn't help. Again, so to summarize, I think he was a first ballot guy. I think, and like I said, if he's not, then no one is. The problem with that statement is that I think others will be, because it's brought light on this issue. I think I am okay with, even if I would have voted differently, I think it's okay if some guys are like, my responsibility is to make sure Hall of Fame guys get into the Hall of Fame. And if that means Bill Belichick gets in on a second year instead of his first, because I want these guys who are in their last year to get in, then so be it. Because you're obviously not thinking alone. Like that one vote goes to, you need 39 others to also vote for those guys, or they're not getting in as well.
I don't want this to turn into a referendum on Hall of Fames in general, because it's not just the Pro Football Hall of Fame that works this way. I don't understand why there's a timetable for people to make it. If they were a Hall of Famer, why do they have to be voted in during this time? If you look back and go, man, that person should have been in the Hall of Fame, put them in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
I do not understand that. Like, I know the big talk is about some of in Major League Baseball, some of the PED era guys are off the ballot, or going to drop off the ballot really soon. I know they can come back with whatever that, the Veterans Committee or whatever it's called in baseball. There's got to be a better way. And we only got a half an hour. I don't want to spend any more time talking about Hall of Fames or jump over to baseball, but it just seems really weird. The criteria and the changes that were made on the pro football side, I don't get it. Bill Belichick was a slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer, and I think I believe all of this discussion since this came out has been to that effect. Like, I don't think there was anyone that was like, he is not a Hall of Famer,
right?
And like, if you can get people in this day and age to agree on something, you messed up.
Right.
You messed up. So that is what the Hall of Fame is sort of doubled down, where they were kind of threatening their voting base of going against their bylaws, or maybe pulling back the curtain too much. They need readjustment. And I know some people pointed out that the person that holds the most sway with the Pro Football Hall of Fame is the NFL commissioner. He sits on the board. So, there's something that he probably needs to take a look at. It's something in the end that doesn't mean a lot. It doesn't impact the lives of too many people outside of the Belichick family, but it's a simple fix that can be done pretty quickly.
Right.
So get it done.
The limits on class sizes too. Like it's stupid.
They're either a Hall of Famer or they're not.
And that was one of the things that I believe has changed, because the guy was like, look, if it was like the old voting where you vote yes or no on everyone, but this wasn't that. You get to vote yes
you can
for
only
three
vote
guys
three
or something
five.
like that.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't get it, but we're gonna move on. And oh no, I threw it up there again. Sorry, Uncle Rich. Want to make sure you saw it. But I will point out that yes, this is AI. This is not, Uncle Rich is not wearing this. I do have a photo of him wearing a Miami Dolphins jacket that is a legit photo. He was in town visiting and was helping my dad and I move some things at the sandwich shop in and out of the freezer. And he needed a coat, and I was more than happy to lend him a coat. Which was my starter NFL Miami Dolphins reversible jacket from the 90s. I do have that picture. But I've been having some fun with AI over the last week or so, and I thought this would be a good one to test it out on. And it's 98% there, Justin. My prompt was to put him in Dolphins throwback jersey, and it did a pretty good job. However, if you'll notice, Justin, it is the late 90s Dolphins logo on a 80s, 90s Dolphins era merino jersey. So they conflated a couple eras here, but I admired the job it did because it looks really good. Like if I didn't tell you it was AI, would you have? I mean, you probably would assume he never put all of that on,
Right.
But like if you just glanced at it and
Right.
didn't know
if
him,
I didn't know
would
that,
it pass?
It would pass now. Yes, it would pass now.
So
only like a Dolphins fan, I'd say like our age or older, honestly, or like a diehard Dolphins fan now, would I think could even pick out the inconsistencies with like, hey, Marino didn't play in that style jersey.
So the foam finger completely good. The hat excellent. I said Zubaz, it nailed it. The jersey, so Marino wore both that logo and that jersey, but that style jersey did not ever go with that logo.
Okay.
That's the problem. They needed to use the 70s, 80s, early 90s logo on that jersey, or they needed to make the jersey the 96 to early 2010s version jersey that goes with that logo. It's missing the navy drop block letter shadow. But otherwise, it did really, really well. I was really happy with it.
Yeah.
Because
but I would not pick that up.
But the best thing is this original picture, his hands are not visible. Like it did all because I said, can you lift his hand so he's holding the foam finger number
goodness.
one?
That's
and when
really
it produced this, I was so happy at the way that this came out. I couldn't wait to put it on the show. And
I feel like that could go on a T-shirt for next year's
my
fantasy
God.
draft or something.
I
like
generated it literally 10 minutes before you got here. It just popped in there. Also, I'll quick go back to it. The image of my uncle wearing the Drake May jersey and Patriots knit hat is also AI. It's literally the same photo, and that's how it generated. So it cut him out of a family photo I took a few years ago for the shop's anniversary of all the brothers wearing yellow May's anniversary shirts. And he's standing with his brother, so you couldn't see his right arm, and his left arm was down. But it pulled him out, it cut him out, and I said, throw on a Drake May jersey and a Patriots knit hat, and that's what it spit out. And that's when the light bulb went off and was like, let's have some fun here. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. I don't know if he's watching live. My dad's loving it, though. My dad is enjoying seeing that. But let's move on. Let's actually go to the Super Bowl now. Before we dive a little bit more into the analysis, because I think what we addressed or will address everything else in Rich's email. He already talked about the soft schedule, but they still have to beat some of the better defenses. He talked about the wearing the white jerseys and then it's snowing. Obviously, that had nothing to do with the Patriots. If that's a conspiracy, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. The Patriots are the home team, though, for the Super Bowl. They are wearing white jerseys because I believe they're 9-0 in those jerseys, both this season and in historical Super Bowls. So there's a precedent there for them. We talked about the Seahawks were favored by 4.5. Yeah, we'll see. We'll talk a little bit more. But the other thing I wanted to bring up, Justin, was obviously you and I here, we're both huge Penn State fans. I don't know if you got to watch any of the hockey game yesterday.
I saw the third period in overtime.
I watched the whole game. It was awesome. I really wish we had been there. We had talked about going. It just didn't work out. But Penn State lost to the number 2 team in the nation, Michigan State, in overtime at the Hockey Valley game at Beaver Stadium. They had almost 75,000 or just over 75,000.
Just over 75, yeah.
Second largest attended outdoor hockey game, collegiately at least. I don't know if that included NHL games or not.
I think it might.
So only behind one held at Michigan, where I think they got over 100-some thousand. So great experience, and like nothing but rave reviews from everyone that attended, everyone that had a hand in production, the teams, the coach. Like the Michigan State coach was like thanking Guy Godowski and the Penn State group for choosing them to be part of the experience. McKenna, it was kind of the reason that this came about, I guess. Him signing with Penn State over the summer and elevating Penn State's stature after a Frozen 4 run. So he said this is why I chose to come here. This was amazing. All the players, it was just really cool. It was fun to watch. I wish they would have won. I was really bummed the way it ended, but Pat Kraft came in afterwards and said, keep your heads up high. Just remember what happened the last time you lost an outside game in overtime. It was just last year. They ended up going to the Frozen 4.
Right.
And this team on paper is better.
Right.
So I know they lost one of their better players a couple games ago, but they've got elite talent, that one of which is quite likely the number 1 overall pick in the NHL draft in June. So a lot of awesome stuff happening for Penn State, and not just all on the ice, Justin. We also have representatives of the Penn State football team playing in Super Bowl LX, Super Bowl 60 here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Up first for the NFC champions and the away team wearing their Navy jerseys will be former Penn State football letterman Chris Stoll. If you're not familiar with his name, that is because he is the long snapper, and he has made his name for himself in the NFL with the Seattle Seahawks now for, I think this is his third year with them.
I think so.
I think this is his third year with them. So he is an important member of their special teams unit. He is their starting long snapper, and he's getting the job done, and will add to the roster of Penn State players that have played in a Super Bowl. Obviously, we'll all remember that stupid, annoying viral graphic that people bring up all the time about how a Penn Stater's played in every Super Bowl and then really tiny print except 5.
Right.
So don't have to worry about that this year because there are Penn Staters in the Super Bowl. Chris Stoll, your NFC champion representative. But that is not all. Caden Wallace, a recent draft pick in the 3rd round by the New England Patriots, is a starter on the Patriots offensive line. He has played both guard and tackle. He wears jersey number 70, as you can see in the photo there if you are watching us. So a Penn State player guaranteed to hoist the Lombardi Trophy and win one for dear old state. Very happy to see both of those players involved, and recent Penn State guys that we watched just a few seasons ago.
Yep.
Wearing the blue and white, and will now have a chance to fulfill their professional football goals. So that's pretty awesome. Wanted to make sure that everyone knew that those guys were playing in Super Bowl 60. So best of luck to both of them, although maybe a little bit more to Chris Stoll, as I believe Justin and I are both rooting for the Seahawks.
Yes, you got that right.
Yeah. I know in the past there's been a few years where I have rooted for the Patriots. I actually rooted for the Patriots 11 years ago when they played the Seattle Seahawks. I have photos have been popping up recently because it was around this time of the year when that game was happening, and I'm decked out in Patriots gear that I had acquired. I wonder how I acquired that over the years. I did buy the Teddy Bruschi jersey myself because he was a linebacker that wore number 54. And there was a time period in the early 2000s where I didn't hate the New England Patriots. I was much more anti-Bills and Jets. And then, things started to change around 2007 or so. And there's a few hiccups along my way of my Patriots hatred, though, I got to say. I did pull for them against the Seahawks 11 years ago. Not the case this time. I'm all for being weird with Seattle, and whatever happens in the Pacific Northwest, I'll give it a pass. For one night, 1 week from now, we will be in the first quarter. Justin, what about you? Who are you rooting for?
Yeah, my rooting interest is with the Patriots. No, sorry, not with the Patriots.
Whoa, yeah, wow. Bombshell.
With the Seahawks. So, like, when you look at it, I honestly, it's not as strong as it would have been. Like, there's a time where it would have been, I was full-heartedly rooting for the Seahawks. And while I'm definitely rooting for the Seahawks, it is what it is. Like, this is one of those, and I think I've had this discussion with you a number of times, but I have it at school all the time. People ask, like, oh, do you, like, what are you guys doing for the Super Bowl? Like, lots of people asked last year. I'm like, nothing. I want to watch it at home by myself. Like, I do not want to watch, like, with anyone, like, because it, like, I was obviously deeply invested in that game. This year, this would be the year to, like, oh, let's watch with somebody, like, because I want the Seahawks
really
to win,
matter,
but
right?
like, I'm not super concerned about it. So, like, these are the games where it's like, okay, like, whatever. But I'm rooting for the Seahawks. I'd be really happy for Sam Darnold. Not that there aren't people on the Patriots. Like, I'd be happy for Drake May, I guess, but, like, not really. It's harder to be happy for him because he's the Patriots guy. And, like, he wasn't, like, as much of the throwaway. Like, Sam Darnold, like, so many teams have thrown him away. But, like, including the team that probably should have kept him.
Right. Yeah.
Like some of them, like the Jets. Like I understand, like when the Jets moved on, like okay, but they've proven that they can't get out of their own way. You know, I'd be happy for him. I'd be happy for the coach. You know, like they seem to be buying in. It's just I don't know.
It's just too soon for me, Justin. It's just too soon to have New England be relevant again.
100%.
Not like you said, and other people have said, it's not that anyone there really rubs you the wrong way, that they haven't done. It's just the thought of that franchise being at the top of the mountain again so soon.
Right.
Just, you know, we went through 20 years of this and we got, you know, 5-year reprieve. It's still not enough time. I think it should have been a decade.
Right.
I feel like the football gods
They need
are not
like,
looking
they need
down
like
on
true
us.
suffering, like being
Right.
bad enough to draft your next quarterback who's really good. Yeah,
So
that's
they
not
went
enough
through Cam
suffering.
Newton and Mac Jones for a few years.
Right.
Boo hoo. My
You
uncle
need real
breaking
suffering,
breaking
right?
news. My uncle is watching live.
Oh, good.
He
Yeah,
saw
good.
it. I think what I'll do is I'll print it out and I'll have him sign it, autograph it the next time for me. We'll hang it in the studio.
I in a serious moment, I do appreciate that your uncle keeps coming back knowing that he's just
No,
gonna get like
no,
cheap
he's
shots
just gonna
from
get-
me.
yeah.
Occasionally some from you, but definitely some from me. And now you're joining in with me and you're making AI generated photos of him and his like to be fair, I feel like Uncle Rich takes this much better than I would take it if the roles were reversed. Now, that being said, maybe because his team has won so many Super Bowls, like he can laugh it off.
He's experienced what, 6 wins, 4 now if you're counting this year, which is pending. They haven't even lost that one yet.
Like,
It could still be a win.
Joe can attest. 2 has made me a bit insufferable. A bit. But like
Well, it's
so
not
like,
just the 2. Don't forget the one they lost a couple years ago.
right, exactly. So like don't like I feel like yeah. So I appreciate that Rich continues to listen and humor us. But yeah, like
I'm just. So I don't want to jump in. I'm just thinking
you're
here,
good.
talking about my uncle seeing that live, which makes me so happy. That kind of would have been fun to have him watch it after the fact, because someone says, "Did you see what Joey did on the show the other night?" And getting that text from him after he watched it would have been funny. But him watching it live, and this doesn't really have to do with him, but this advent and my newfound love of AI image generation may not be good for a lot of you. I'm just putting that out there. This could be fun. This could be a lot of fun.
we saw
so.
donkeys in space uniforms this
That's
week.
right. Oh man, yeah, I got Justin involved in it too. It was pretty funny, making fun of the Naval Academy. Uncle Rich, can you believe it? Our beloved Navy. They brought it on themselves, unfortunately, and I'm the one that pointed it out. So, got to know how to spell astronaut. I'm sorry. So let's finalize here. Last few minutes, thoughts on Super Bowl 60. I can't believe we're at Super Bowl 60. I remember talking about Super Bowl 50. You know, the NFL celebrated with the gold letters, and they handed out those gold footballs,
Right.
which Wilson has 2 of.
And they handed and remember they did the actual numbers because
it's L.
well, one it was 50, but you didn't want Super Bowl
Super L, yeah.
Right.
Now we're 10 years removed from that. Wild, but I do think, and I hope this, doesn't come off just as being a Patriots hater. I do think the Seahawks are going to win for a lot of the reasons you talked about. Would it surprise me if the Patriots win? Not in the least.
No.
Not in the least. I do think the Patriots have the better quarterback. I know. Sorry.
I agree.
I apologize to Sam Darnold. I don't mean to discount him. I just think more often than not this season and last year with the Vikings, those teams were winning not because of him, but with him.
Right.
Maybe at times he made a spectacular play, or he
Right.
didn't make the mistake and he let the rest of the team win. And hey, that's fine. You raise a Lombardi trophy, it doesn't matter what anyone else says.
No.
It really doesn't. He's still young, and he's got a young contract. He's made millions. Sam Darnold's doing fine. I think in the grand scheme of things, Drake May is probably
His trajectory is
is higher.
Pretty good right now.
I guess you could say, right now comparing the two on the field, maybe they're pretty similar. It's just I think the peak is going to be higher for Drake May than it is for Sam Darnold. I do think both defenses are very good. I don't see this as being a high-scoring game like we've seen recently
agree.
in the 30s for both teams. I think this could be like a 21-17 type game. Vegas would love that.
One of the things I was talking about too, or thinking of rather, was that like I'm like I didn't know if it was gonna. I'm thinking like, is it going to be a close game or not? I think it will be, just because I don't think it's going to be like a lots of scoring type of game. That being said, even though last year's game, and I'll bring this up, was not close, it felt close to me. Like, does that make sense? Like, we were distinctly texting back and forth, like, when will you feel safe? You know, like, when will you feel safe? Like,
And I got to say that to you. Well, we got there.
Yes.
Are you okay now?
Yes. Like, it was much later than like probably the average person watching, but like, I'm like, no, this is just going to be the worst way to lose ever, you know, in my mind. Like, so even though it wasn't close, it felt close to me just because I was so tense. Whereas, you know, when you're watching and it's not your team, yeah, I'm really hoping it's a good game. You know, like people who wish for good games when their team is in it, I don't understand them. Like, no, we don't want a good game. We want a blowout. So we shall see.
Well, we do have comments on YouTube, people saying they're not super happy about the Patriots making their yearly appearance in the game. I know, I'm sorry, we covered that. It's not exactly what we want either. But we'll see. We both want the Seahawks to win. We both do think the Seahawks are going to win. It's hard to say, do I think they'll cover? Because I just said I thought it was going to be 21-17. That would not be a cover.
Right.
So, honestly, I think I'd pick Seahawks money line, but I would take Patriots -4.5. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the winner wins by 1 to 4 points.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
There you go. I'll go a little bit more. I think Seahawks maybe get a late score and win 27-17.
Okay, so
But I think it's
a good game.
I don't think it's like 27-7 and then they score a couple late. Like, I think it's back and forth and
they put it away late.
Right, like they get a field goal late to like go up 2 scores or something like that.
Okay. I got you. I'm with you. I think it'll be a good game. I hope it's a good game because neither team excites me all that much in terms of fandom. So I need it to be a good game to keep things interesting. I feel like in the last 20 years, the commercials haven't lived up to the hype. You know, that used to be a big thing in the 90s and early 2000s. They've just been okay. I haven't been interested in any of like the musical performance things in years. So halftime show just doesn't do it for me anymore. That's usually ended up when I leave the party anyway, so I miss most of it. It's not the like me personally. It just hasn't been the same of the spectacle outside of the game. So whatever. It'll be it's the Super Bowl. People are gonna watch. I'm interested to see what the numbers are because I was a little disappointed by the conference championship draw. The numbers weren't as big as they had been of late. And like we kind of alluded to at the very beginning of the show, a lot of the people in the country, especially on the East Coast, Mid-Atlantic, were snowed in last week. And
nothing to do.
Didn't make the numbers go bananas like many thought they would. I mean, we kind of had talked about that. So we got about 10 minutes left. Excuse me. But when we won't have a show next week. So episode 432 will be in 2 weeks on February 15th. So before we come back, something else starts, Justin, and that is the 25th Winter Olympics. We're bringing back the Roman numerals.
I thought you were going to say NBA All-Star Weekend.
Nope, don't care whatsoever.
I was a little confused.
Does not matter. Saw Joel Embiid was not picked as a reserve.
That's good. And also, when I saw that a Sixer was out for like
performance enhancing
medicine violation, I'm like, oh no, because Embiid has been on a tear lately. But it was not him.
So I am excited. Yes, the movie trailers that could be released. That is one thing I am excited about. So yes, to the commenters. Sorry, the name's not popping up for me, but the YouTube comments saying there are going to be some good trailers released. I agree. I'm excited to see some of the movie trailers coming out. I think we could see anywhere from 4 to 6 different movies advertised. Probably not the full, 90-second trailers, probably 30-second clips that say go watch the full thing on YouTube.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I will,
Right.
because there are definitely some movies I'm excited for this spring and summer that probably are going to start ratcheting up the marketing. For me personally, like obviously Star Wars is right at the top for Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm excited for that, but I am, I like my Greek mythology, Roman mythology.
Yes, I've seen the Odyssey.
The Odyssey
one.
is
Yes.
coming out this summer, Christopher Nolan. So that's another one that I'm very excited for. I don't know what else. I don't know if we're getting trailers for any of these movies, but those are the ones that jump to my mind of movies that I'm excited to see and would like to see a trailer for. Toy Story 5, which you probably haven't seen the first 4. So
I saw the first one. I saw the second one.
did you see the third one with me? Did we have this discussion
No.
before? No.
Is the third one the sad one?
Yes.
No. God, no. I don't want to watch it because,
Oh.
I've never seen the third one. What's the fourth one?
Well, if you haven't seen the third one, I doubt you've seen the fourth one.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. Colton watches them sometimes. And
The fourth one has the creepy marionette dolls and the baby doll.
Which one is the Spork or Forky in?
That's the fourth one. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I've
Forky.
seen parts of that one. I've seen parts of 3 and parts of 4.
Yeah,
But
well, you need to watch the first 3.
well,
I mean, you probably need to know 4 for 5. But
Right, yeah.
all right. Anyways, let's get back on topic here. Winter Olympics.
Yes.
My favorite Olympics. Winter Olympics. You and
My second favorite Olympics.
you and my wife are Summer Olympics people. I'm Winter Olympics because you know how much I love ice hockey,
Yes.
and it doesn't get any better. Especially as Flyers fans, haven't had a lot to cheer about for the last decade, and the last 2 weeks have not been going great. They were doing really well, not doing so great right now, but Olympic hockey is amazing. We saw it last year as a preview, almost a year ago, the Four Nations face-off.
That was incredible.
Which we got to see Team USA beat Canada and then unfortunately lose to Canada in the championship game. But how the spectacle that just those 4 international teams put on was fantastic. We're getting it here again very soon. Actually, this Thursday, the girls already start playing. Do you know what's awesome about the Olympics right now, Justin? Hockey at the Winter Olympics. Well, one, the NHL players are returning for the first time in 12 years, thankfully. The U.S. men's team has not done well the last 3 Olympics. They have failed to medal, I believe, in 14, 18, and 2022. However, this is the first time in Olympic history, and this is all Americana right here, that Team USA, both men's and women, enter as the IIHF number 1 team.
Wow.
Because the men had never been number 1 until 2025. So they are coming off good performances at the World Championships. The women have been great. Things are going well. Obviously, Team Canada is the main rival and the main threat for Team USA on the ice. But the expectations and hopes are high. And obviously, Hillary Knight is captaining Team USA women's team. They won in 2018. They lost to Canada in 2022. But they're ranked number 1 for a reason. The men are coming off a World Championship victory. They beat Team Canada in the Four Nations face-off leading up to the championship game, which they then lost in overtime. They've been going toe-to-toe. However, they were finally named the number 1 team in the world by the International Ice Hockey Federation, and they're obviously led by the Tkachuk brothers, who burst onto the scene last February. The start of that round-robin game between Team USA and Canada is something I will never forget.
So
when they just all started fighting.
So I look at them kind of like I look at Peyton Manning, and I know it sounds weird, but just hear me out. Peyton Manning, Tennessee, I'm like, I couldn't stand. Peyton Manning grew on me in the NFL, and I really liked him. The Tkachuk brothers, NHL wise, I was like, not really a big fan. And then their involvement with Team USA, I'm a fan. Like, you know,
Right? Yeah, no,
like they've
100%.
grown on me.
Yeah, I mean, they were playing for teams that, well, because the Flyers were so irrelevant, it didn't really matter, where they were playing, who they were playing for. I knew them. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Keith Tkachuk. I liked Keith Tkachuk growing up. Jeremy Roenick, that gang of players from the late 90s, early 2000s. Fantastic. Love watching them in, 98, 2002 Salt Lake. So having the Tkachuk family move on, but then the build up to that Four Nations face-off, and then that game, I remember watching that game. I remember texting you like as it was happening. I'm like, this is amazing. And then the numbers came back that
And they
were just crazy. It was
Right.
crazy, the numbers that
For
those Four Nations
quote-unquote
face-off.
exhibition hockey.
Yeah, games that didn't matter.
Right.
Didn't matter. So obviously we are hoping that the USA and Canada will get to play. I don't think that's a guarantee, at least on the men's side. Actually,
What would
I
be
have it
nice
written
is if
down
when you
here.
get to the elimination stuff, if they're not on the same side of the bracket. Like that's what you don't want.
Right. So women play Czechia on Thursday. They play Finland on Saturday. They play Switzerland next Monday. And they play Canada on Tuesday the 10th.
Switzerland's only allowed to play between the blue lines. So,
The neutral zone?
Stay
Yeah, got
neutral.
it. So men then pick up on Thursday the 12th with Latvia. They play on Valentine's Day versus Finland. They play Germany on Sunday the
what?
15th.
Within the last month or so was when Austin watched Miracle for the first time.
I'm gonna bring
Yeah,
so
that
the
was-
men only play 3 round robin games.
Okay.
The women play 4.
Okay.
So the women will play Canada. The men will not. So
Right.
that would have to be a
Right.
a
And
medal
that's
game.
where I hope you end up in not playing them in the semifinal.
No, I don't
Does
want
that
to play
make
in the
sense?
semis.
Right. Is Canada 2? Is Canada ranked like 2?
That's a good question.
I mean, I know that wouldn't necessarily matter. It would matter on their points coming out of the thing. Like if they didn't win their group, then like it would be potential that we could play them. But
Okay, so this is as of May 2025. This hasn't updated. Canada was down
at 3.
to 4.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But this is May.
Russia's not.
So Russia's not. I don't. Is it still or? Are we still Olympic athletes of Russia? Is that still
don't
happening?
know.
I don't even know.
It's weird.
Okay.
But
Sorry, the Wikipedia thing is not updated. So the women are 1 and Canada is 2.
right.
The U.S. not really sure what's going on. They had been 4, but moved up to 1. But now Russia is back into play.
Yeah, I
It's
honestly
included in the list due to its ongoing suspension from IHF competition. But this last was updated in 2025. So
right. Who knows?
they have Canada behind Switzerland. This is a point system, so take it for.
But yeah, what I'm saying is like when they come out of group play, assuming they would come out of like the pool play, the round robin stuff, you want to be on the opposite side of the bracket in theory, so that you could have that Canada-U.S. matchup in the final, not in the semifinal. But
Yeah, so that's. I mean, obviously we know outside of Russia who's a threat, and besides Canada, Sweden, Czech Republic, Finland. Those are
Yep.
the 3 other big ones to keep an eye on. Occasionally, you'll see Germany or Slovakia have a good team or upset someone. I think actually.
well, and like in the NHL playoffs, and especially in some of these round robin things where you're not playing like a series like NHL playoffs, if you get a goalie that gets hot and just makes some, just playing crazy, hey, that could be good enough to win you a game, and then you lose maybe to the best team, but you tie another team. You could find yourself advancing. So it'll be wild.
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember. The United States lost. Yeah, they lost to Slovakia, I believe. Yeah, the United States lost to Slovakia, didn't even get a medal in 2022. Now, I know in 14, 18, and 2022, you're using amateurs, like
Right.
essentially what the Olympics were meant for.
Right.
But we all want to see best on best. I want to see NHL players for all the countries, not just the U.S. So, but I'm looking forward to it. It's always so much fun. lot of hype, a lot of expectations. I enjoy watching other sports too. I'll watch figure skating. I'll watch all the downhill stuff with skiing and snowboarding. Some of the extreme versions of that is a lot of fun. Watching like half pipe and things like that. All very, very entertaining. So Winter Olympics get the nod for me. I think because of the ice hockey component. If you say the breadth of the games, I think summer offers more over a 16-day period that entertain me. But ice hockey is
But the things that
top
entertain you
of
the
top,
most
yeah.
are, yeah.
And I want to watch the women's and men's ice hockey tournament. And I think it's going to be. I think the USA hockey is going to put on a good show. So, all right, Justin. Anything else you wanted to add before we get out of here?
No, like I said, we have the Super Bowl next week. Should be fun. Hopefully, we'll see. It's going to change. Man, you think about it. Like Super Bowls change things for quarterbacks and coaches. Like quarterbacks and coaches, it changes things forever, right? Like Mike Vrabel is already a highly respected coach. It changes if he wins a Super Bowl.
Right.
The Seahawks, if they win, man, you go this guy in what's his second year?
McDonald,
and he wins one, that changes him, and it changes Sam Darnold. Like,
Yep.
First of all, Sam Darnold, first USC quarterback to start in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's
insane,
wild.
insane,
Crazy.
I was like, no, and then immediately like, oh, maybe, like, as I started thinking about it. But I assumed, 70s, 60s, like USC had so many insane
This
teams.
goes before the 2000s,
Right.
2010s.
So anyway, I that was kind of wild, but it changes things forever. Look at Russell Wilson, right? Russell Wilson, who's taken a lot of heat over the years, some fairly, some unfairly. How different would it be if he didn't win that Super Bowl?
Right.
How different would it be if he had a second one? It
is amazing.
It changes everything. It changes everything.
Yep. Legacy enhancing.
Yep.
For sure. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it's McDonald or Vrabel. Is it Darnold or May? If it's Vrabel and May, man, that's terrifying to think about because I put more stock in the Patriots sustaining the success than I do in the Seahawks just because, to me, McDonald is a little bit more of an unknown for me.
Oh, absolutely.
Whereas we've seen Vrabel do good things with Tennessee.
And what's interesting is they both have the quarterback on team-friendly deals right now.
Right.
Drake May even more so than Sam Darnold. Like, Sam Darnold's not breaking the bank, but, like, he's making what a guy that is, going around. And he had a good year last year, so they had to pay him something.
And as we said, we think Drake May has a higher ceiling than Sam Darnold, where Sam Darnold might be at his peak. Drake May's probably not there yet in only his second year.
Correct.
So it is terrifying to think that the Patriots could be around and back after just 5 years or so away from the forefront of everyone's discussion about Super Bowls. So we will see. Again, we'll be back for episode 432 in 2 weeks, Sunday, February 15th. Hope everyone enjoys the Super Bowl and has a fantastic Valentine's Day. And wow, Justin, I think it's just dawning on me that when we're recapping Super Bowl 60 on episode 432, I believe it is this gentleman's birthday.
Oh, my goodness. It is. It is. Because it's the same as my sister's birthday.
So we won't say happy birthday now because we will be live on the air to wish my uncle a happy birthday. I know he's hoping that we are crying about the result of the Super Bowl. That's the best gift I think anyone could offer him, is a Patriots win, and for us to have to talk about it on our next episode in 2 weeks. So we'll find out. Watch the Super Bowl in a week, and we'll be back here in 2 to discuss it. But that's it. So for Justin Raffoff, I'm Joe Mays. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, and we'll see you again real soon.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop. You can watch each weekly episode live on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also rate and review us on many of these platforms as well. We'd love to hear from you. Send your emails to the Mays Sandwich Shop inbox at joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is a part of the JMNJR Radio Network, home to other productions such as the Bulldog Hour, Tangents with Friends, and Nat Chats with Dad. Until next time.